So inside this EnPowerManager, we have a lot of options. So the last option is the EnPowerManager. Inside this EnPowerManager, we can run a report on a user logon history. So I can run a report on the time that I'm logging in inside my system. So you click on the devices that you want to run the report on, and you click on select. So the sort by, is it by date, is it by user? So you're going to select it and you're going to click on a run report. So this guy is going to run a report on the time that I'm logging in on my system. So if I drag down, you will see the time that I log on my system and you see all the information. So that's how you can use the first option, and you can actually select the computer startup history, the time that the computer is starting up or the time that the client is connected to the server. So you can run a report based on anyone you want there. So the second option here is a power scheduler. So here, I can schedule the time that the system will come down. If I come here, we have a lot of options. If I drag down, the first thing is a shutdown, standby, hibernate, restart, and boot. If I put it on shutdown, that means that I say that the system should be shut down in a 7:27. You can actually specify the time. I can say 8:30 and I can say PM, which means that the system will be shutting down 8:30 PM automatically. The system will be shutting down 8:30 PM automatically, and the frequency, do you want it to be daily or weekly? You will specify based on the need that you want. But this option here, don't go ahead and click this option because is very strict. What's the function of this option? It says that only shut down if computer is idle for 10 minutes. This thing means that anytime the employee leave the system for 10 minutes, the system is going to shut down. So imagine the employee wants to go and use the restroom before the employees come back. The system has shut it down. So that one doesn't make sense. So don't enable this option. Only way, the only process you enable this option is only when you want the employees to stay with their system 24/7, and that is a very strict policy. So if you enable this option here, anytime the employee leave the system for 10 minutes, the system will shut down. So you can actually run a schedule, which means that in every time, every 8:30 PM, the system will be shutting down. But make sure you click on add schedule. So once you click on add schedule, the schedule will be here and you need to enable this power scheduler. If you did not enable this power scheduler, it's not going to work. Make sure you enable the power scheduler. So we have the third option. This third option here, first choose the group you want to use it for and make sure if you did not enable this policy, you won't be able to do anything on this guy. You won't be able to do anything. So you need to enable the policy. Once you enable the policy, that's when you now be able to interact with this option. So the first option says that turn off monitor after plug-in. Do you want to turn off monitor anytime we plug in lights in our system? You will choose it based on whatever you want. Or do you want to turn off monitor when the system is running on battery? You will choose it based on whatever you want. The second option says that do you want to turn off hard disk after plugging in, or do you want to turn off hard disk when running on battery? So all these options here, you will choose it based on the company requirements. The last one says that do you want to require a password on wake up when you plug in, or you want to require a password on wake up when running on battery? So based on anything you want, you're going to choose it here and you're going to click on apply. So the next option here is a shutdown option. So here, if you are using shutdown option, if you can remember when we are doing power scheduler that we do for sales group is that in every 8:30 PM, the system should be shutting down. What does this thing mean? Is that if employee is doing work and the time goes to 8:30 PM, immediately the system is going to shut down and the system is not going to notify the employee. So that one doesn't make sense, because imagine the employee is doing some work and the system shut down. There's no way they will be able to save the work. But we have this shutdown option. You can use this shutdown option to notify them. You can use it to notify them that this system is going to shut down in so minutes, so that all the employees will be able to save their work before the system goes down. So you can use this shutdown option and make sure you choose the option that says shows warning message before shutdown. And the message can be window is shutting down. You can now say please save your work. So you can add your own, please save your work, which means that time before client shutdown is what, 10 seconds. I can actually use 30 seconds here so that they will still have a more privilege to save their work. So what does that mean? Once the time enter 8:30, immediately this message will come up that in the next 30 seconds, the system will shut down. So the number will be counting down from 30, 29, 28, 27. Before that one, they would have already saved their work before the system shut down. So this one is just for them to still be able to save their work before the system shut down. So we have the next one, which is a boot option. So what's the function of this boot option? So assuming I'm working for organization, and based on the company's policy, no employees will come up during the weekend. Maybe employees don't used to come up on Saturday. So assuming me, I now goes to the office to do vulnerability scanning on the network. It means that I need to enter each offices to turn on their system so that I will be able to scan those systems. So if something like that happen, it will give me a tough time. That means that I will be going to each office to turn on all those devices. But we can use this boot option. This boot option is what they call wake up on LAN. So we can use wake up on LAN to wake up all those devices wherever they are in the building. So if the devices in a sales is in a sales group or HR group, just come here and navigate to wherever the group is. And you're going to use wake up on LAN. Wake up on LAN means that anywhere that the devices is inside the building, it will automatically come up. You don't need to go to wherever the devices is and turn them on manually. Wake up on LAN will turn all of them on automatically, and you will be able to carry out your scan. And when you carry out your scan finish, you don't need to go there and power it off again, because you have already scheduled a time that all the system will shut down. So power scheduler as well will shut the system down automatically. So inside this wake up on LAN, we have two options: broadcast and unicast. Broadcast is a one-to-all. This is what they say it is recommended. Anytime you want to wake all the system in the group on, you will use broadcast. But if you want to waste only one, you will use a unicast. So that's version of that boost and option. If you come to the last option here, we have a delete data. You can actually delete history for log on and log on, log off, and start up and shut down history. So you can delete history, because anytime you have been running a history, you save the history so that you can have another space to run another history. You need to be deleting some old history. So you can use this guy to delete history. So that's the options. That's everything about this power scheduler. So that's everything that you need to know about this power scheduler. So the last thing I want to explain to you before we stop today's class, the last thing I want to explain to you, like what that guy asked here. There's one guy that asked a question here that says that if I have like 10 clients, do we have to follow the same process of client installation for all? No, you don't need to be doing everything for all of them manually. You can use an Active Directory. We have a lot of way that we can automatic deploy those software on the client. So if you come to tools, and you come to deploy clients. We have remote client install, we have local install, we have deploy with Active Directory and auto upgrade client. So the one that we are doing, we will go there and manually install it. That is what they call a local installation. Local installation means that you'll be the one to manually install it on the client. But in a scenario that we have a multiple system, we can deploy it with an Active Directory. So once all those employees has been joined to the company's domain, through that company domain, we can deploy this CurrentWare client to them, and automatically all the clients will connected to the server. So you can use that guy as well to automatically deploy the client to them. So this will be the end of today's class. So mind you, like what I explained to you, these tools here is a 14 days trial. 14 days trial, which is a 2 weeks. You can see here is a 14-day left, and you can use these tools for 10 free devices. So anytime you want to use it for more than 10, you need to get license for it. You need to pay, subscribe for their features. So those are everything that we need to know about these tools. And mind you, anytime you are implementing this policy, make sure that you are removing the policy from them. Make sure that you are removing the policy from them. And the next thing I want to talk about is that, okay, here says you use the IP from your cable connection to connect to the CurrentWare. What if you decide to choose another source for your internet? Then the IP change, will the CurrentWare disconnect you, or will you be able to browse maybe websites you already blocked just by changing your source of internet? Okay, if you once we join your system to the CurrentWare, once you join your system to the CurrentWare, and we implement a policy to your system, the policy will be working for your system no matter wherever your system is. The policy will be working for it, except you come back, we remove that policy from the system. Even you connected to another devices, automatically it will be connected to the server, and the policy will still be working for you. So the policy will be working for you there. So except you come to the device, to the CurrentWare server, and they remove the policy. So there's another thing I want to explain to you. There's another thing I want to explain to you. So imagine that this system here belong to maybe the senior manager. Yeah, this system belong to the senior manager, and the senior manager carry his system, he goes to Abuja. Maybe there is a webinar that the senior manager needs to attend to. And when he gets to Abuja, he needs to use a USB. And when arriving in Abuja, he now discovered that you have blocked USB on the system. So in that scenario, how can we allow the senior manager to be able to use the USB, to use the system to access USB? So you don't need to leave Abuja and come to the offices before they can use the system. So we have option that says generate an access code. So we can actually generate access code for the senior manager. So you're going to click on the senior manager PC. Yes, if you deploy it with an Active Directory. Active Directory, we are using your domain name. So based on any network you connect to, based on any network, once your system is joined to the system domain name, it will automatically connected. So if you deploy it to Active Directory, once your system is joined to system domain name, wherever you carry the system is, it will automatically connected to the CurrentWare. So yeah, like what I'm explaining before. if the senior manager take the system to Abuja and he want to use a USB, and the senior manager found out that you have disabled USB access, the senior manager doesn't need to leave the Abuja and come to your company premises before he can use the USB. You can use the option that it says generate access code. So you need to click on the senior manager PC and you click on generate access code. There's a generate access code at the top, or you use this triple icon here and you choose generate access code. So once you click on generate access code, it's going to tell you, you will be the one to choose the expiry date for this access code, which means that I need to reach out to the senior management and I need to ask the senior management the webinar that you are attending, how many days, how long do you want to spend there? So if the webinar is only one day, I will leave it on that day. And I will ask the senior manager, how long do you want to spend there, which is the duration of the webinar. So if the webinar is 1 hour, I will leave it in 1 hour. And if the webinar is 2 hours, I will leave it on 2 hours. So imagine the webinar is 2 hours, I will leave it on 2 hours and I will click on generate. So once I click on generate, this guy will going to give me a code. This code here, I need to copy it and I need to send it to the senior manager in Abuja. So when I send this code to senior manager in Abuja, this is the code that senior manager is going to use to access the system. So I'm going to show you how you can use this code to access in the way that senior manager will use this code and access the system so that it will be able to use that USB. So once we generate that code, copy the code, send it to senior manager, and senior manager needs to enter the control panel on his or her system. Needs to enter control panel on his or her system. Once he enter control panel, senior manager will drag to where we see grant access to EnPower devices. Once he double click on grant access to EnPower devices, you're going to ask the senior manager for access code. That particular code that we generated here, this code that we sent to senior manager, this is what senior manager will put inside this icon here. And you're going to click on unlock. Once you click unlock, you will see the message that says granted access to endpoint devices for the next 2 hours. And the senior management will be able to do anything he wants to do on the system for that particular 2 hours that you see here. You will see it is activated for 2 hours. Once the time goes beyond 2 hours, all the policy will come back again. So that's how you can do that one, so that the senior manager don't need to leave wherever he is and come to the premises, and you don't need to go and be removing all the policy and deleting data because of all those stuff like that. So this is how to make use of this CurrentWare. This is how to use this CurrentWare, and this is how to use this to monitor the employee. So before I end today's class, do we have any question